Hey everybody, thanks for clicking on this video. Before we jump into the MRE, I need to just go ahead and get out front of this and ask for your patience and your forgiveness. This video is broken up into two parts for reasons that'll be obvious once it gets rolling. During the filming of the first part, I ran into some technical issues with my camera. Recently, when returning from a shoot, my camera took a nosedive and landed lens first on concrete. I thought that the extent of the damage was a couple of filters that I had on it, but during the shooting of this video, you can tell that it's having some trouble with its autofocus. It's not egregious, but it's distracting, and I apologize for that. Because of the location of today's MRE, I wasn't able to just go get new pieces and reshoot, but I also didn't want to just throw this one away. So I hope that you'll bear with me watching the first part of this video. I changed out cameras for the second part, so hopefully the second part will be much more tolerable. With that out of the way, let's get into this one. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Have I got an amazing and super fun bonus edition of homemade MREs for you guys. As has been the case since this trend started, I've been asking you, my audience, for advice on where I need to go to make more of my homemade MREs, and you never fail to deliver. A couple of weeks ago, I took the family on a trip to Texas. We were going to the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and I had several viewers comment that I need to go to a store called HEB. I had no idea what I was getting myself into with that store. But let me tell you something, if you've never been there, this place is massive. And it is amazing. If there is any grocery chain I wish would come to my hometown, it's HEB. This place rocked. Now I say this is a super special bonus edition because not only did I find enough stuff to do an MRE, I found enough stuff to do two. Now my only regret is I was in kind of a hurry while I was there, and I was more focused on trying to find the things I needed, and that I completely missed an opportunity. I very easily could have built a 24-hour MRE out of the stuff that they had at HEB. Unfortunately, it didn't occur to me to go and look for things for breakfast. I just started throwing things in the cart thinking, if I can't use this, I'll use this. I was looking at building a singular MRE, and by the time I walked out of there, I said, okay, I'm gonna build two. But it just, for whatever reason, it just never dawned on me to go for one more meal and just make it a 24-hour MRE. But anyway, that's in the past. It's too late to go back. It's a long drive from home. But with that being said, let me introduce to you the Dad Budget Adventures Homemade MRE Menu HEB 1 and HEB 2. Now this video is going to be just a little bit different other than the fact that we've got two MREs that we're going to be showing, but because I'm not a wasteful person, some of the items that I bought came in bulk packs. So there will be repeat items in both of these kits, but we are going to have a full meal out of both. And real quick before we go any further, let's dive into the rules about how I do this. Other than the fact that for entertainment purposes only, I try to source everything in these MREs from a single location. But I do have three rules that I use when I build these. Rule number one, everything that's in here has to be able to be eaten straight out of the package. Doesn't mean that's how we're going to eat it, just means it needs to be able to be eaten that way. Rule number two, everything that's in here has to have at least a 1-year shelf life from the time that I buy it. The only reason for that is to ensure freshness in the event that I pack one of these away and don't get around to it for another year. At least then it'll be as fresh as can be expected. And finally, rule number three is the menu. Each MRE must have an entree, a side, a walking around snack, a dessert, and a beverage. And as we've discussed in the past, we talked a little bit about bonus items, things to bulk up the calories or bulk up protein or what have you. These MREs are chock full of bonus items. You guys are gonna love this. Stick around to the end. We're gonna break it up into two meals. I'm gonna do my first meal today, and then either tomorrow or another day this week, I'm gonna come back and finish it out. So I'm gonna show you everything that I've got for the first meal, and then I'm only gonna try certain items with that demonstration. Then when I get around to the second meal, we're gonna close it out by trying everything that we've got. So let's dive into this and see what is in my homemade MREs from HEB. By the way, if you know what HEB stands for, please leave a comment and tell me about it. I'm curious to know what the locals call it. Do you call it HEB? We were pitching around a lot of ideas. My wife kept jokingly calling it HEB because it made my daughter nuts every time she'd say it. But let me know what y'all call it. All right, so we're gonna start things off with menu HEB 2, simply because I really didn't pay attention when I put them in the bags to which one I was doing. So for those of you with OCD, I apologize. We're going out of order. Inside of HEB menu 2, we have a bag that's very resistant to being opened, apparently. For our entree, I finally found and picked up the Hereford shredded beef brisket in barbecue sauce. This is one that I've seen in other stores, but it's never had a proper shelf life on it. This is a 6-ounce portion, so it should be plenty of meat for a single person. A lot of the Hereford portions are 10 ounces, which tends to be a little much for one person, but I think this is going to be just about right. Get a lot of protein in here, and I think this is going to be a good item to start things off. As our side to go with it, I picked up this minute rice jalapeno rice. I figured this would be a perfect bed to put that shredded beef over and add just a little bit of extra zing. But before I get these things in the cooker, I need to cook one more thing that I've got in the bag. I'm gonna show you one of the bonus items that I picked up. This is one of those things I keep looking for when I go out shopping for MRE items, but I can't seem to find them just anywhere. And that is boxed soups. For this one, I picked up the Flavors of Texas beef taco soup. This looks like it'll be a perfect addition to bulk up this meal, get some extra protein, some extra belly filling, and it goes right along with the theme of the beef and rice. And the reason I like the boxes for this is, for one, if you're camping, you can throw the leftover box in the fire and not have to worry about toting it back out like you would with a can. I'm gonna use the barrel cook to get this thing going, and then we'll go back in the bag and see what else is in there. All right, so while that cooks away, let's see what else is in this bag. Our next item is our walking around snack. And for that, I picked up these spicy peanuts from Mi Tienda, which is the Hispanic food store brand for HEB. So these are fuego, so we will see just how hot these peanuts are. This is a 4-ounce portion of peanuts. There's gonna be a lot of extra bulk here. Our next item is our dessert. We have these chocolate bourbon cookies from Parley Platina. I'm not really sure why they call these chocolate bourbon, because they're not bourbon flavored to my understanding. But if you know why, please leave me a comment down below. I've seen a lot of recipes that talk about these bourbon brick cookies being used for a base for things like tiramisu and things like that. So if you know anything about these, please pop into the comments and tell me about it. Next up, we have another bonus walking around snack. This is something that the wife picked out, and she thought it was so interesting that she brought it to my attention and said, hey, you need to try this for a walking around snack. That right there is a chunk of honeycomb. Comes in an individual little serving dish, and it comes in a tube. In fact, let me grab that tube and show you real quick. So they come in this style of a tube. You can see they're called honeycomb bites. And she just thought this was the coolest thing, and I had to agree with her. While they do tend to be a little bit on the pricey side, it's such a unique item, I couldn't leave it there. Now remember that when we're building these MREs, we're building them to suit our particular needs. If this is something you don't feel like you'd use, then don't put it in there. But if you come across these, this is a perfect little pick-me-up, especially if you're out hiking and you need a little dose of sugar, or if you're just between meals, you start getting the shakes and realize that your sugar level is dropping. Just pop that in your mouth. You got a nice, tasty little snack, and of course, honey never goes bad. And the final two items in this MRE are our beverages. I've had a lot of comments on videos about how there should be 2 beverages in there, a coffee drink and a refreshing drink. And while I don't always throw that in there, if I'm building these for my own use, usually that's what I'm gonna do. Sometimes I'll put a couple of coffee drinks in there. For our drinks, I got the sachet of Taster's Choice French Roast. This was a flavor that I haven't tried before. So I wanted to make sure that I was bringing something that was new to me and maybe new to some of you. And for our refreshing beverage, I got Stir Hydration's Fruit Punch. Of course, this is a drink with some electrolytes in it, something you guys keep pointing out that I should be including. That's everything that's in our meal today. That's our menu, HEB 2. So let's start trying some of these things out and see, is it any good? I'm gonna start with our Stir Hydration drink. That way, if I find something that doesn't agree with me, I can have something to wash it down with. Let's get this mixed in. So this has a really curious smell to it. I don't dislike it, it's just not what I expected. It doesn't necessarily smell like a typical electrolyte drink. And it is interesting that it's translucent like this. I kind of expected being fruit punch, it was gonna have some color to it, but maybe it's one of those things where they don't use artificial colors, which is great. It is such an unusual scent. I can't even describe it. I don't know what flavors I'm smelling. If I sniff at it long enough, I can pick up on fruit punch. You know, typical fruit punch smell like you would get with Kool-Aid or Hawaiian Punch or something like that. All right, let's give this a taste, see if it's any good. It's probably gonna be a little strong. I used a little more water in there than I expected to, but that's not necessarily a bad thing. Just means the flavor is gonna be a little more concentrated. It tastes like an electrolyte drink, but not near as bad as some that I've had. It is more concentrated because I use less water than I probably should have, but it does really bring out that flavor. Yeah, that's pretty good stuff. I like it. This is more of something I could see me drinking on a regular basis, more so than some of the other electrolyte drinks I've tried. Next up, we're gonna try these Japones Fuego. We'll see just how Fuego this is. Ooh, they've got a strong smell to them. Oh boy. Ooh boy, I may regret this decision right here. There's some heat coming out of that bag. It's not the smell that concerns me. It's the color. Look how bright red these are. Y'all know what that translates into. That's heat right there. That's gonna light me up, I think. They do smell really good though. It has a very hot saucy kind of smell to it, like a powdered hot sauce. So yeah, these are gonna be good. But oh Lord, here we go. Let's see what happens. All right, let's give it a shot. Y'all, these are so good. There's that vinegary taste of hot sauce. It's that kind of zing that vinegar brings to a lot of hot sauce. It is completely there in the flavoring. I'm gonna get some more of that. It's not terribly hot. It's not as hot as I was expecting based on the color, but there's some heat there. It's probably something the wife would not care for. I think my youngest kid would love it. These are absolutely amazing. That is such a good flavor. That is so enjoyable. My goodness, those are really good. If you have HEB in your area, try those out. If you've tried them, tell me what you think. And also, I noticed there was a bunch of other flavors. This one caught my attention, but how are the other flavors? Are they as good as this? Okay, I'm gonna get another bite. These are so good. Those right there are gonna be hard to top. But I do feel the need to cleanse the palate after that. Yeah, that gets better as you go. That's really good stuff. Probably be even better with ice. All right, this should be an interesting follow-up to the Fuego peanuts. Let's try this honeycomb bite and see just how this is. Ooh, it's got a really good natural honey smell to it. I mean, that's pretty much honey in its purest form. So let's give this a shot. Ooh, that smells really good. Here we go. Ooh, that's nice. That's a nice little treat right there. Just enough honey. It really gets your mouth watering. It's a good way to flush it out. That's a good palate cleanser right there because it really causes your mouth to water and help clear things out a little bit. That's good stuff. Now the taster's choice, we'll try that with our next meal. So don't feel like you've been ripped off. We're gonna try that. I'm really curious about this soup, see what we ended up with. That is really hot. I took this out and I threw the rice in the barrel cook to let it cook for a little bit. But I'm gonna go get a bowl to put this in because I want y'all to be able to see exactly what we've got here. All right, so I'm not gonna get a bowl. Instead, I decided to go with a mess kit. Let's open this thing up. So there's a little perforation on here. It says tear here. And do this with minimal mess. So you can open up the top of the box. As you can see, the soup's in there. Easy access. I could just take it and drink it straight out of the carton, which means less cleanup later. But I do want to get it out into this pan. So let's pour it out. Wow, that is a super chunky soup. Lots of beans. I see corn in there. It smells really good. This has a bit of a canned chili smell. It very much looks like a canned chili almost, but thinner and with a few more ingredients in it. I'm hoping it tastes better than it smells. There's also a really pleasant aroma to it that comes in kind of behind that canned chili smell. So let's see if the taste of one outweighs the other. I got some beans, I got beef, tomatoes, looks like some jalapeno or something. Let's give this a go. That's pretty good soup, y'all. For a boxed soup, this is pretty good. It tastes to me like canned chili wishes it tasted. It doesn't taste like homemade chili. It has kind of a canned chili taste, but better. And it's kind of a weird description, I know, I'm sorry. But that's just kind of what I'm getting here. This is a really good soup, guys. I'm not hating that at all. There's so much stuff in here. It would be very filling. I can't imagine that I'm gonna be able to eat all this and all of that too. Remember, we're just showcasing things here. This is not something where I expect anybody to sit down and eat all of this. You can definitely see how you could spread this out over the course of a day. This single MRE alone could be almost an entire day's worth of rations. Okay, I gotta stop. because we got other things to try. All right, so now it's time to prepare our entree and our side. And to do that, I have to show you something that came in off of the Amazon wish list. This is a gift from one of our most loyal fans, Mr. Z. This is a Hydro Flask camping plate. It's an insulated plate. I can load this up with hot food and it's not gonna burn my hand. But it's got a nice stainless steel surface, which will be super easy to clean. Now, if you're curious about the Amazon wish list, it's down in the description box below. It's a list of items of various price points. If you wanna do something just to be cool and help out the channel, or certain items I'll use in a video. But thanks again to Mr. Z. This is super cool. All right, let's get this out, see what we got. Open up our jalapeno rice. You can see there's some jalapeno seasoning on the lid. Definitely got jalapenos in it. Smell that for sure. All right, here we go. Now I kind of want to try this by itself just to see how this rice is and how hot it is or is not on its own. See if that jalapeno brings any spice at all. And so the jalapeno in here is more about flavor than it is spice. It's very mild, very pleasant, but it definitely has that undertone of jalapeno there. Let's add this Hereford shredded beef brisket with barbecue sauce. It's not the prettiest thing, but it smells really good. It smells like a good barbecue brisket. Kind of see there's a pretty substantial portion of it. And a small cup of minute rice is just about right. It doesn't add too much rice to it. You're also not sitting there going, well, that's not near enough. All right, let's try just the brisket. See how that is. It smells like a barbecue brisket sandwich like you get in a little roadside place. It's not bad. Not bad at all. The barbecue sauce is very sweet. So if you like sweet barbecue sauce, this is a good one. If you don't like sweet barbecue sauce, this may not be for you. Let's get a bite with the jalapeno rice and the brisket. See how well they pair together. That's a solid dish right there. It is not bad at all. I always expect when it comes to packaged meats that they're just gonna taste off. But this one, this is really good. I'm surprised that that brisket tastes as good as it does. I would take that, put that on a hamburger bun, and be perfectly happy. Got a big old chunk of meat right there, look at that. The last thing we've got, of course, is our bourbon biscuits, but we're not gonna try these yet because this is the dessert for both meals. We're gonna do it with the next meal. That is everything for the HEB menu 2. Stick around for the rest of this video because HEB menu 1 has got some cool stuff in it. So come back for that meal, but for this one, I'm gonna sign off and I'm gonna throw it over to tomorrow. See ya. And we are back for part 2 of our double header homemade MRE from HEB. For lunch today, I've got HEB menu 2. So let's get into this and see what's different in here from the other menu. This one's got some cool stuff. I think you guys are gonna like this. The first thing we have is an entree that I have been looking for since I first learned of their existence. I've seen them online. I've yet to see it in a store. This is from a company called Gets Ready Meals, and this is their chana masala. Essentially, this is a mainstream civilian version of an MRE meal, even down to calling it ready meals. Now, this is a vegetarian option. It's just chickpeas and masala. But if you wanted to throw in a pouch of chicken or something like that to boost up that protein, you absolutely could. I'm not doing it for this video. We're just gonna try the product as it is. And as our side, we have the other pack of minute jalapeno rice. That's gonna go down as our bed with that chana masala poured over the top. That's gonna be good. And before we get things cooking, we have another bonus item in here. Remember the soup from the other meal? We got another one of those Flavors of Texas soup. This one is Cajun style corn chowder. Cajun soup with Indian entree is not really a way to stay in theme, but I wanted to pick up the soups that I thought looked the heartiest because of the fact that we could take that entree out and make that soup into our entree. I wanted something that looked hearty. Now, one of the other great things about these box soups is they're not condensed. You don't have to do anything additional to them. You can consume it straight out of the carton, you can heat it up, and it's easy to work with. And it doesn't take up a whole lot of room. So let's get these things cooking. We're gonna use the trucker's lunchbox for this meal. So let's get it rolling because it takes a little while to heat things up. I'm gonna drop the soup down in the bottom. And let's open this up because if I'm not mistaken, inside this box is a retort pouch. Yep, that's exactly what we've got. We've got a nice retort pouch in here that I think is gonna do really well in that trucker's lunchbox, or any of your off-grid cooking methods are gonna work with that. How cool is that? And once again, if you're needing space, you can take it out of the original box and just throw that in your kit, and you don't have to worry about having to dispose of the rest of that trash. All right, so we're cooking away. Let's see what else is in this bag. I get a lot of questions about these Mylar bags that I use. I do have a link in the description box below where you can go to Amazon and get the exact set that I ordered. These come in multiple sizes, but my preference is for this gallon size, just because I can put all my stuff in it. And I had a viewer ask recently why I use Mylar bags when everything is in its own individual package. There's a couple of reasons for that. One is they look better on video. The other is that it keeps light and oxygen from getting into here. Now, I don't vacuum seal these, but once I get everything in here and I close it off, I don't have to worry that light is going to affect something that's in a package with maybe a clear window or something like that in it. And I don't have to worry about additional oxygen getting in here. All right, so let's see what else we've got in here. For our walking around snack, I picked up a pouch of these Sucker Punch 3-pepper pickles. I've had some varieties like this before, and these pickles are usually pretty good. It's just a small little dose of calories, but it's also a little burst of sodium. These have a lot of electrolytes in them, so if you're doing a lot of hiking and sweating and you worry about getting leg cramps, you've also got the pickle juice in there, which is a great remedy for that. But these are a tasty little treat, and if for nothing else, if you're a pickle fan, this is going to be great for morale. I also have another walking around snack, which is another one of those honeycomb bites that you saw in the other meal. And let me tell you something, I really like that. That right there is a really cool addition to these meals. Next up, we have our dessert, which is another pack of the Parlay Bourbon Chocolate Biscuits. And this time around, we're actually going to try these out. And then, of course, there are our beverages. We have our Stir electrolyte drink, and we have our Taster's Choice coffee. Now, with the last meal, we tried the Stir drink, so we're not going to do that again. Although I may mix it up so that I can have something to kind of refresh myself with as we go. Right now, we're having a bit of an issue here at the studio. It's a little warm in here. We went on a vacation this weekend to visit family and returned to find our air conditioner was out. So my entire house right now is being run off of a portable air conditioning unit and a window unit that we installed in our living room to kind of supplement the regular air during the summer. And unfortunately, that is a fight. So as we wait to get the air conditioner take out and get our air conditioner back online, it's just a little bit warm. So I can probably use the electrolytes. So let's go ahead and mix this up. Let that be dissolving a little bit. And now let's mix up our Taster's Choice French roast with the official Dad Budget Adventures bling mug. The opinions about instant coffee are so varied in the comment section. Some people exist with it. I mean, it's their daily coffee. Other people couldn't choke it down if they had to. I'm somewhere in between. If it's the option I've got, I can drink it. But it has to be the right kind, because I've had some pretty bad ones. And y'all have seen me try some pretty bad ones. Now, as an addition to this coffee, I'm going to try something. I got a gift that was sent to me off of the Amazon wish list from a viewer named George Bergmeyer. George, thank you so much for this gracious gift. George sent me a box of these Copper Cow Coffee latte creamers. This is sugar and milk mixed into these little individual sachet style pouches that can be thrown in with your kit. And that way you don't have to keep up with additional stuff. I had added these onto the Amazon wish list because I wanted to see if this might simplify the process of transporting the things to make your coffee better. If you're a black coffee fan, great. I'm not. I didn't grow up that way. So I like a little something in my coffee. So we're going to throw this stuff in there. It looks kind of like sweetened condensed milk, which I'm kind of under the impression that may be about what this is. If you like sweetened condensed milk, you can't not do this. Oh yeah, that's exactly what that is. That is a sachet pouch of heaven. Let's mix that in there and see what we ended up with. Thank you so much, George. That's good stuff. I don't know how it's going to work with this Taster's Choice coffee, but the product in itself is wonderful. And I'll add an affiliate link to those down in the description box if you'd like to go check those out. So the Taster's Choice French Roast Coffee smells really bitter. It's not one of their better smelling coffee. It's a rough smelling coffee. Let's say that. For something that's touted as French roast, you'd think it'd be smoother. All right, let's give this a taste. Ooh. Taste-wise, it's also pretty bitter. That latte creamer smooths it out a little bit. It's still not my favorite as far as instant coffee goes, though. But it's not one that if I'm sitting around a campfire and somebody makes this and hands it to me, I'm not going to throw it out. I would drink it. It's a decent enough coffee. It's just not my favorite. So let's give these Sucker Punch 3-pepper pickles a try. I like a little bit of heat. I love pickles. Now these do have a zipper pouch top. So if you don't eat everything in a single sitting, you can zip it up and go back. Or if you eat all your pickles and you want to save the pickle juice, you can zip it back up, throw it back in your kit, and have that for later. This is another one that has a pretty generous portion on the inside. They have a very sharp smell of heat on top of that vinegar and all the seasonings that go with pickles. They're very tart smelling pickles, so this ought to be interesting. All right, so let's get one of these out, or two, or three, and see how they are. They're ripple cut pickles, decent enough looking pickles. They smell really good. Let's give it a shot. Ooh. Oh, wow. They have such a tart zing to them. And they're hot, but they're hot in that it's kind of almost like a horseradish style heat, where as soon as you take a bite, it hits you. It kind of gets up in the sinuses. It does have a little bit of residual heat, but it really does kind of hit you like a spicy mustard or horseradish, where it just kind of goes up your nose and then it dissipates. Let's get another round of that. Yeah, those are good. And those would be amazing on a hamburger. Oh my goodness. Like a hamburger with some pepper jack cheese, a little bit of bacon and some of that. Yeah, look, you can just feel your arteries clogging right now, can't you? All right, let's close these up. Let's get a little bit of this and kind of cleanse the palate a bit. So when I made the last batch of this, I mixed it very concentrated with a lot less water. Mixing it with more water is actually much more refreshing. The flavor tends to be just a little bit powerful if you concentrate it too much. Not so much that you wouldn't drink it, but dilute it a little bit more. It's really good. As far as electrolyte drinks go, this may be my favorite that I've found so far. All right, while we're waiting on dinner to cook, let's do another shot of this. This was so good. That is such good stuff. That honey, there's just something about the flavor of honey that you just can't beat it. Following it up with coffee, not the best plan. Let's go back for this. I'm glad I decided to go ahead and mix this up. All right, so let's get out our soup and throw the rice in there so it can warm up just a little bit. And just like the other one, we've got a little tear top here. We just need to zip that off. Whew, it's hot. And once again, we could just consume it straight out of here, but we're not gonna do that. Let's pour it up in here and see what we've got. This one's a little thinner than the taco soup was, which, yeah, it's understandable, it's soup. But the taco soup did have a texture more like a meal, so I could definitely see using that one as an entree. This one has a much more pleasant initial smell to it. I don't pick up on the canned chili smell like I did with the other one. I see lots of spices. There's red bell peppers, there's corn, looks like maybe some celery. What I'm not seeing is a lot of meat. So if it is in here, it's chopped up very fine. All right, let's give this a try and see what we've got. This one's kind of meh. It's not a terribly exciting flavor. It's extremely mild, tastes very almost unseasoned. And look, I grew up in New Orleans. I know Cajun. This isn't Cajun. Yeah, maybe throw some Tony's or some hot sauce or something into that and kick it up a little bit, but overall it's not a terribly impressive dish. I really wanted to like this more than I do. Oh well, they can't all be winners, right? But you know what is a winner? These things. All right, so let's get out our Hydro Flask plate sent to us by Mr. Z, and let's load up our entree and see what we ended up with. All right, let's tear open this rice. Got that same jalapeno rice we had in our other meal. Our chana masala. It's gotten really warm. Let's shake it up a little bit. Made a little bit of a mess here. All right, let's pour this over that rice. That's a pretty good looking dish right there. So there we have it, our chana masala, chickpeas and masala on jalapeno rice. I have a feeling this is going to be pretty good. Once again, this is a vegetarian dish, but you can turn it into whatever you want. You can add some meat of some kind to it, of your choice, and make it into something amazing. Believe it or not, I do have people that leave really ugly comments every once in a while when I do a vegetarian dish. And I'm sorry if you're offended by the idea of vegetarian dishes, but I think maybe we can get over that and move on. I had one guy a couple days ago left a heinous comment. I don't even understand what he was trying to say, but it had something to do with a vegetarian dish. So let me point out something real quick. All of this is vegetarian until you add meat. Then all of a sudden you've got a carnivore meal. So don't come at me about me eating vegetarian stuff. But let's give this a try. See what we've got here. I'm just gonna try the chana masala by itself. That's really good. Has a great flavor to it. It's not spicy. I don't detect any spice at all. So I think this will be safe even for people that don't like spicy Indian food. So let's get in here and get a bite with the jalapeno rice. See if that kicks it up a little bit. It doesn't really make it any spicier, but that's a good combination. That jalapeno rice really works well with this. It also worked really well with the barbecue brisket. It's a pretty versatile foundation if you want to do stuff like this and take it just a little bit further. I could definitely add some hot sauce to this, make it a happier dish for me. It's not needed, but yeah, if you want to kick it up a notch, throw you some hot sauce in with that. The chickpeas have a really good texture to them. They're not overcooked and mushy. They're not undercooked and crunchy. They're just about right. All right, let's rinse that out a little bit. And of course, our last item is our dessert. I've been curious about these since I first came across a video of somebody making a recipe with them, but I've never seen them in a store anywhere until HEB. So let's try these chocolate bourbon biscuits or bricks or whatever you want to call them. Okay, that's not what I expected, but here we go. It's a sandwich cookie. It says bourbon on the cookie. It's got a chocolate filling, and it's got some kind of sprinkling on the outside. It's got a great chocolate cookie smell. I imagine these are probably going to be something that I'm going to wish I had some milk though, but I've got my coffee, and I bet these are probably really good with coffee. Let's give this a try. Okay, yeah, I can get behind that. Those are so good. Imagine your favorite chocolate sandwich cookie and then kick it up to 10. That's a good cookie right there. Let's give it a try with this coffee. See how it dunks. These are a really good dunking cookie. They very quickly start absorbing whatever you dunk them into. That's really good with the coffee. Oh yeah, let's wash that down. All right, people, that's it for this journey to HEB. Thank you to the viewers who suggested it. Also, keep those suggestions coming. If you have places that you think I should visit in order to build a homemade MRE, drop me a comment down below and tell me about it. Also, if you've tried any of these products or know anything about them, share your knowledge. I get so much good information from people coming in after these videos and leaving comments that tell me something about some of the stuff that I've got in the video. It's always fun to read the things that you guys are leaving. Also, I try very hard to answer every comment. I can't always catch the replies because the YouTube stuff doesn't always tell me when somebody's replying to my comments, but I do try to respond at least to the initial comments. Thanks again, everybody. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell so you can be made aware of all upcoming videos. Don't forget to check out the Amazon wish list down in the description box down below if you want to help out the channel. That's a cool way to do that. Also, if you haven't found me over there, I'm on Instagram. I post things over there that are a little bit more current. If I'm about to make an appearance somewhere, or if I'm going someplace where I might be around other like-minded people, I'll put it in there in case you want to pop in and just say hi. Also, if you haven't found me on TikTok, I'm over there. We'll see what happens with TikTok over the next couple of months, but for now, I'm there too. But that's going to wrap it up for this video. I hope you enjoyed this one, and until the next one, prepare for the world that you live in, not the one you wish existed. We'll see you around.